Recorded live at the Depends for Men Undergarment Studios in Orange County, California. It's the Indispensable Thursday Show with Sable and Dave. Mediocrity never goes out of style.
Oh, dude, I'm so impressed with the joke now that I know it. I'm not going to share it on the pod. I'll share it off the pod. I'm so impressed. I'm just going to bow. I'm going to bow.
This is a great opening. No one knows. Even the co-hosts have no idea what you're talking about.
No, but that works for me.
If you were in the chat room, when you listen to the show, Thursday morning, 10 a.m., if you were in the chat room Wednesday night at 9:30, you would see what's happening. I got the text. Thank you very much. I believe we have Mark Levin right here to tell us about his support for Trump.
What? I came out in support of Ted Cruz, not Donald Trump, you bleeding idiot.
I'm sorry, sir. I misunderstood. I thought you were in support of Donald Trump. But tell me about your support for Cruz.
Well, Ted Cruz is the only person who knows who Mark Levin is. That's why I should not be doing an impersonation of Mark Levin, because no one knows who he is.
Including us, apparently.
Yeah.
I know Mark Levin.
He knows Mark. He knows Mark Levin.
I know Mark Levin from his role in From Hawaii with Hope.
Oh yeah, we should put that on. Well, he's the villain. He was the villain in the
when Obama as James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
I know him because I have Sirius satellite radio, so I know lots of things.
One of the few and the proud. Wait, I thought you were an Army guy, not a few and the proud guy.
Yes, I'm an Army guy.
So I want to have a big shout out.
Army of one, be all you can be.
Oh, Babbling Coffee is here.
That was an example of my horrible improv, by the way, because I didn't have anything. I just found out that he supported Ted Cruz, and you threw it at me, and I completely dropped the ball, as I always do with improv.
Dave's horrible improv.
We gotta.
So in today's episode of Great Coffee of the World, we're going to talk about the right elevation, longitude, and latitude to grow the perfect bean, and what type of roasting methods will espouse the finest and richest of aromas and caffeine.
We only have 2 more
content.
hours of this, too. It's good.
Babbling
yes.
Coffee was here giving me a hard time last week, too.
We are
nice
starting,
to have you back.
We are starting again.
No coffee talk.
With the coffee talk. And this week in Coffee Talk.
You know,
No.
Speaking of I had a brand new coffee at Starbucks this morning.
Oh.
It was a roasted or burnt butterscotch latte.
Oh,
Okay.
Really good.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, that third voice that you hear, because you know me, I'm Sable, and you know Dave.
I'm Dave.
Our third voice here is a good friend of the show, good friend of mine, Mr. Robb English.
Thank you.
And Robb has an upcoming podcast he's working on. We're going to keep it secret, but if you like your freedom and your liberty and your law talk, we're going to have a treat for you sometime in the next whenever you get around to it.
Yes, as soon as I shed all of my laziness and actually record all the thoughts that have been bouncing around inside my head and get them on tape, then yes, the podcast will go out.
Yeah, you'll never get all of them on.
It'll be huge. It's going to be huge.
But no, on a serious note,
it's going to make this country great again. It really is.
I want to have a shout out.
My podcast.
Listener Alex, also, I have to admit, another friend of mine from years gone by. Listener Alex just had a new baby born, and I just want to say hi to Alexia Joy.
Hi, Alexia. Welcome to Earth, Alexia Joy.
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to this world. Don't screw it up.
And sorry about the mess.
Yeah. Don't screw it up anymore than we already
left
have.
it for you to fix.
No, we'll get it fixed up before she really needs it.
All right.
So a beautiful, healthy baby. And they did this cool thing on the chalkboard with chalk where they wrote all the possible names and scratched them out, and then there was just 2 left, and it was Alexia Joy. So
That's a lovely name.
Yeah. So I thought I'd start the show on a little positive note there.
Good, before we descend into heck.
Before we descend into the madness of the zombie corpse bride driving through for sex.
Yeah, you're mashing up a couple of those stories.
I know.
Do you want to talk about those now? Or
I
you want
like mashups.
By the way, those are the oppressed majority.
Yeah, you're like he's teasing all of the subjects we're going to be talking about on the rest of the show. I remember I met Robb. I think I only met him one time before at your birthday when we all went out and did a very kind of like
right?
We all did like a right wing conservative kind of afternoon. We went out shooting.
It was white men with guns.
Yeah.
It was,
Yeah.
I think we did good though because I don't think one Mexican made it over the border that day. Right?
Right.
We all
right.
We all
did got our
really
shots.
Good. Okay.
Now you were here on New Year's.
It was at a shooting range.
You were here on the epic famous New Year's party.
Yeah.
But were you here when Rob was here?
Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah, okay, maybe he was
I
there.
thought you guys had overlapped.
It didn't work
at
for
the New
my
Year's
joke,
party.
though, about the shooting, so. But yeah, I think he might have been there when I was there. I had to leave like at 10, though, so I don't know.
was a pretty awesome birthday that I had.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was good.
Very good.
I should have done it again.
I shot lots of guns.
Well, I'm a fan of guns.
They're the great equalizer, man. I always say, if you don't like guns, then why do you like women to get brutalized by men? Because that's what you're saying. That's I think maybe possibly even if you were going to go as far as to really do gun control here, I say let's just have women carry guns.
That's an
true.
interesting
Yeah, that's fine.
Unless
men cannot cannot keep their guns to themselves.
Can I be like a weak man and carry a gun?
Well, yeah.
I don't think you can be a weak man, Rob.
I don't know. I was in traffic court earlier this morning for a client.
For you or okay,
No,
for
it was for a client, and the officer that showed up. I mean, this guy was enormous. He was like 6'5". He was like really muscular. I'm going, how come he has the gun? He can already like kick my ass up and down the courtroom, and he's armed, and I'm not. It just something was wrong with that.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that guy.
Yeah.
Well, you never know.
Do you look Arabic? Maybe he's going to just go crazy one.
Ooh,
Allah Akbar and shoot the judge in the face. I don't know.
All right. I like to do entertainment stuff up front.
Oh, okay.
So first of all, I have not made it through all the Oscar films that I was intending to watch. They're not all on popcorn time.
Of this year or last year?
This year.
Okay.
Yeah.
Seeing how far behind you are.
I did watch the Spotlight movie though. That was
good. Yeah.
That was an easy stream. I was quite impressed with the story, the way that they drew out, and they didn't connect every dot for you. They left you something to think about. And I've felt that it was a pretty, the whole Catholic Church molesting children is pretty awful, and the cover up is pretty terrible, and we know that it's bad. But I felt like I got some real facts from there that, my personal opinion has always been it's really bad, but it's only a small percent of really bad people within the Catholic Church, and they still generally have good intentions. And watching the movie, I felt like it really was like a couple of percent of people out of a large group.
I think it was like 6, which seemed kind of high for for that.
So it might be high compared to the population.
More than the general population, no. I think it was more.
But if you look at thousands of priests, you can still generally trust them.
Yeah, I think the big issue though is, I mean, if you're an organization and you find a cancer within your organization, you need to cut that shit out. You need to excise that right away and not cover it up for the feel good of the institution
for decades.
Right.
Yeah,
and that's why the cover up.
unconscionable.
That's why the cover up is the big story.
Yeah. Well, you know what they've always said. It's never the crime, it's the cover up that gets you.
Oh, okay. Now I tried to watch The Revenant because I'm kind of interested in that film now, and it was not available on Popcorn Time, and it was not available to rent on iTunes either. I don't think it's worth $15 yet, so I'm going to keep waiting until it's available for a $5 rent.
Much as I hate this director keeps winning everything, I think Revenant is more of the type of film I would have liked to see win Best Picture, because Spotlight, while very good, it's really about what it's about, which I don't like as much. It's like, this is about priests molesting kids, and this is what it's about. Not a lot of subtext. It looks like a TV show. It was very entertaining and good. Okay, I'm not angry that it won Best, but I like to see a movie that looks more like Revenant and has.
I like to go with the alternate titles of each of those movies, because you have Spotlight, which is little kids being raped by priests, and then you have the Revenant, which is Leonardo DiCaprio being raped by a bear. So there's some
one of those
here.
Is more compelling than the other.
I don't know which one outrages me more.
He was sort of more like dry humped accidentally by the bear. It wasn't a full on, It was like a unwanted.
I'm thinking kiss. I don't want an unwanted dry humping from a bear.
No,
400.
That scene was
pretty
amazingly shot though. Yeah, but clearly no rape took place. I'm a spoiler, but yeah, very CG. But that's what was good about it, because it's obviously a CG bear, but boy did it look real.
I'm a little behind in my Oscar movies, because I tried to watch the Mad Max one, and I couldn't get through it. It just
oh man, that was the best. That was the best movie.
I think I liked it the least of all my friends who loved it. I thought it was good, but I didn't really love it as much as like Sable did.
I'm not a fan of Mad Max, and the longer it's been, like the more I watched it, the more I like it. The more it stands up. I heard some people on another podcast quoting Mad Max. I was like, that quoting Fury Road. That's awesome.
Well, see, I think I'm so nostalgic for the original, the Mel Gibson Mad Max, that I couldn't sit through the remake. It was too much of a mishmash of Road Warrior and Mad Max and Thunderdome, and
I haven't gotten over Mel Gibson's anti-Semitic rants yet.
Well, that's bad because he's kind of a dipshit. But you know what? Rich actors in the twilight of their careers start to get a little dipshitty. It just happens.
And I don't know what Charlie Sheen you're talking about.
They become bad actors. They do really stupid shit.
Winning.
And he has the FU money, but he has what Adam Carolla calls the F me money, where he could even do stuff that's harmful to himself, and it doesn't matter because he's just got hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. It's like, what are you going to do?
Right. Now, on Netflix, you guys watching House of Cards?
I think Charlie Sheen needs to be controlled by the CDC.
He's out of the picture right now. So
he should just have yellow wrap like around his body when he's walking
like the police tape around his whole body
at all times.
So I saw Spotlight, and then I couldn't find The Revenant, so I was going to move on to the next movie in the list, and I discovered House of Cards Season 4 was out on Netflix.
Yeah.
And that's derailed my whole week. All my free time has been watching Season 4 of House of Cards.
I haven't seen it since I went to Amazon Prime.
What?
No, it's a Netflix show, right?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah. You went to Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
I haven't started House of Cards. It's one of those series I've never started.
It's very relevant. So the president is trying to run for his new presidency, and they're bringing in terrorists.
That guy ends up running for president? Great. Spoiler.
Terrorist threats, right? Who control social media. They call it ICO. So he has to deal with that. He has to deal with this crazy problem with the election that ends up going to a Democratic convention where everything gets all turned around. And they go into details of how
superdelegates gone wrong.
They go into detail of how
indicted.
how the convention process works. It's fascinating. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, they knew this was happening to us in real life, and they're just writing it into the script. It's pretty compelling.
They can do that on those TV shows. They can just keep pretty current. I can't watch those TV shows. I did. Oh, Downton Abbey just finished, by the way. I did watch that one. Now that's the final season. It just ended.
You've talked about Downton Abbey 3 shows in a row, and I still don't understand the appeal. Can you explain it to me while I take a sip of Bullet Rye?
Yes. Well, it has that BBC feel to it, obviously.
The finest whiskey on the planet.
If you've watched any of those older BBC shows, like Upstairs, Downstairs, and it's the rich aristocracy of England and Great Britain and stuff, and all the how they have such horrible screwed up lives too. But it's fun to watch how rich they are and how rich they live and everything. But it's very much like Upstairs, Downstairs, where you've got the upstairs is
rich people.
Well. Yeah, that's where the house is, where the rich people live, but then downstairs is where the servants go, and they're always, I like the way the mansions are set up because the housekeepers they're like backstage. It's like Disneyland. There's other doors that they don't walk through the main living room of the house or the hallway. They go through the back ways, so they're off. It's interesting, but the whole show is that it's really Jane Austen-y.
I prefer
the daughters. You want to see the daughters meet a great guy. It's great.
See, you make me feel bad, Dave, because my guilty viewing pleasures are that I'm following Vikings and Black Sails. So, except for the fact I can say, well, yes, I'm a history buff. It's mostly for boobs and swords.
Boobs and swords.
I want to acknowledge our chat room here that House of Cards is scary accurate. W9 or 6F.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
He also said that didn't think Mad Max was a remake. Someone must have said Mad Max was a remake, but it's Fury Road's actually a continuation. Maybe you misspoke because it is that sort of a continuation.
It is a continuation.
I confess
by the same guy.
I couldn't get all the way through it, so disregard anything I said.
Your love of anti-Semitism kept you from watching this beautifully done film.
Love of anti-Semitism.
Wait a second.
I can't. It's
anti-Semitism.
No, I don't love anti-Semitism.
Have you stopped beating your wife?
Yeah. So when did you stop beating your wife?
I know.
No, I'm just kidding.
Did you guys see Deadpool? Anyone see Deadpool?
I did see Deadpool.
Oh, good.
And actually, the interesting thing about Deadpool is at first, about 5-10 minutes, I'm going, this is just too effing ridiculous to watch. And I was not going to sit through it. And then suddenly, it got good. I don't know how. I don't know. It just, suddenly I'm like, oh, this is
Were you
cool.
laughing? Did you see it with a full theater of people?
No, I saw it on some pirate internet.
Oh, okay. Did you laugh out loud though? Were you laughing? Because I did not. I saw it in a theater, but there were only about 5 other people. But when I had popped in during another screening, while I was at another theater, I popped in. The theater was fairly full, but nobody was laughing either. I think the jokes are funny, but are people laughing out loud? Because maybe there were too many jokes. It was too little over the top with the jokes. Maybe.
I just started to sort of appreciate the cheese and campiness of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
it's very R-rated, which is cool.
See,
There's
I'd
boobies
never
and even,
I'd never heard of Deadpool.
More lady parts than just boobs in there.
When I was a comic book fan as a kid, I'd never heard of Deadpool.
well, that was pre-Deadpool.
How old is it?
Because we're old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. But
Oops.
I don't have any interest in okay, well, here's a guy that's, I don't know, he's being sexy or something. Like, I don't care.
I think for me, Ryan Reynolds he should not be funny. He's too good looking, and I don't laugh at him very much. I think there's a disconnect with his delivery of the lines for me, I guess. Something is going on.
It was kind of, like Green Lantern dresses up as Deadpool, so I was having trouble with that. And I was getting a little Van Wilder mixed in, so.
Sable's fixing. We have an echo, apparently. Someone was nice enough to let us know we have an echo. Sable's hunched over there. This is a good time to. Oh yeah, so Deadpool. So you thought it was funny though? I thought it was funny.
It started to grab me in. It was a cheesy, campy funny, but it was not laugh out loud funny.
Yeah, it should be. I thought the jokes were good, but I wasn't laughing out loud. Right? It's weird. I don't know.
I guess in my final analysis, I got to where I was enjoying the film, but it wasn't, laugh out loud comedy. But that's okay. Yeah. It doesn't have to be.
So it's laugh out loud dirty comedy mixed in with super standard Marvel comic stuff, like getting punched and flying through a building. It's like, oh, Jesus Christ, how many times do I have to see someone fly through a fucking building?
Well,
God.
I have a problem with most modern cinema, both on movie and television, in that it just seems like it's trying too hard with the jokes. And then they end up falling flat because it's like, it's not funny. You're trying too hard.
What's the funniest movie? What's your favorite funny movie? If aliens come here and they go, what's the funniest movie we should watch right now? What would you give them? I have one in mind right now.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Oh, that's probably my second one. I'd switch Airplane or that one.
Airplane.
Those are my.
I was
those
just
are the
talking
top
about
2
this the
funny
other
movies
night.
ever.
We were talking about funny and Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, that's on my list.
Really good stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Right on. Did you fix the echo, Sable? Oh, maybe the camera mic was picking up audio.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was me. I was trying to. I took out my old Handycam tape camcorder because I thought it would have a better piece of glass on it than this here. And
don't
I
besmirch my little whatever that is.
Are you kidding? This is the secret of our live web streaming career here. But I thought maybe that would give us a slightly better picture on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it does.
So it has a microphone
Plus we
built
can see
in.
The monitor.
Wow, wait, is that my camera from like the 90s?
Yeah, this is the 90s camera right here. But
I just bought that like 2 years ago.
It has a microphone on it, and apparently I was sending out the audio from the camera and the audio from the mics.
That's a problem.
That's the camera I used back in the day when I was trying to chat up bulletin
That was weird.
boards.
I just heard a weird little backwards thing.
Yeah. That's fine. Don't worry about it.
That was
all
weird.
right. It just interrupted me, which is good.
I heard a weird. Okay.
That was the headphones. It was actually my headphones too close to the mic.
Oh.
So,
alrighty then.
So technical stuff aside, I want to talk about some interesting things. Now, I know you guys have a long list, but I want to share something I came across. There's a website I get a newsletter from called brainpickings.org. And they come up with...
you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your brain.
They have a lot of really interesting, thoughtful, like education. It's kind of a tutti frutti kind of website.
This better not be about fucking coffee.
This is exactly about coffee. No, there's a book by Carl Sagan called The Demon Haunted World. And I read this. I thought, man, this is every Trump argument and every Trump supporter can be explained here by Carl Sagan, and he has a chapter called The Fine Art of Baloney Detection. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, what he says is this is a toolkit for healthy skepticism and scientific inquiry. So I'm going to give you a couple of his guidelines for skepticism, and then what's really exciting is he shows you some of the common logical fallacies that people employ to try to persuade you. So number one...
I having studied logic and logic fallacies, this is intriguing to me. I'm riveted right now.
We got a ringer over here.
I actually thought about you when I read this. So Carl Sagan... That's number one.
Yeah, of course.
Carl Sagan says, whenever possible, this is part of your healthy skepticism. It says, there must be independent confirmation of the facts. Number two, encourage substantive debate on the evidence by knowledgeable proponents of all points of view. Now, I'm thinking climate change. Mm-hmm. Arguments from authority carry little weight. Authorities have made mistakes in the past. They'll do so again in the future. Perhaps a better way to say it is that in science, there are no authorities. At most, there are only experts. He says,
very true.
Spin more than one hypothesis. Try not to get overly attached to a hypothesis just because it's yours. Quantify. He says, if there's a chain of argument, every link in the chain must work, including the premise.
Or the argument fails.
Sure.
Right? He also says, Occam's razor. The convenient rule of thumb is if you're faced with two hypotheses that explain data equally well, pick the simpler one.
Oh, I thought you were segueing into our new sponsor, Occam's Razors. They're fantastic.
Let's do that.
I get the
let's do that on the break.
You can imagine with Occam's Razors.
Now here's the key, and this is where I really tied in with Trump for me. Okay, in addition to evaluating a claim to knowledge, any good baloney detection kit must also teach us what not to do. It helps us recognize the most common and perilous fallacies of logic. Number one, ad hominem, Latin for to the man, attacking the arguer, not the argument. For example, the Reverend Dr. Smith is known as a biblical fundamentalist, so her objections to evolution need not be taken seriously. Number two, argument from authority. President Richard Nixon should be reelected because he has a secret plan to end the war in Southeast Asia. Well, because it was secret, there was no way for the electorate to evaluate it on its merits, so they ended up trusting him because he was president, which apparently didn't work out so well. Now, I'm not going to give you... And the listeners...
Is that like 96% of climate scientists agree on XYZ?
That's
an appeal to authority right there.
That's an appeal to authority, and it is a...
and unverified and allows for no dissenting opinions.
Yeah, and it's number three on the top side, arguments from authority carry little weight. So here's just a few. Without going into excruciating detail on each one and going into 2 hours, you have the appeal to ignorance. You claim that whatever has not been proved false must be true. You have special pleading, like, how can a merciful God condemn future generations to torment?
I dare you to prove me wrong.
Right? Begging the question, which also means assuming the answer. Right? We must institute the death penalty to discourage violent crime. But does the violent crime rate in fact fall when the death penalty is imposed? So this sort of thing. Observational selection, right? Francis Bacon described it, counting the hits and forgetting the misses.
Right.
A little cherry picking right there.
Right? The statistics of small numbers. Dave, you and I are both guilty of this.
Hey, just stop talking about my penis.
Is that like 3 out of 5 dentists or 4 out of 5
right?
dentists?
They say 1 out of every 5 people is Chinese. How is this possible? I know hundreds of people and none of them are Chinese. When you speak from your own, like, well, I know a black guy and he's not angry.
That's not true. He's angry.
Inconsistency, a non sequitur. That means it doesn't follow. Post hoc or ergo propter hoc. It means it happened after, so it was caused after. Meaningless question. There's 20 of these. Excluded middle or the false dichotomy. Short term versus long term. The slippery slope, which you actually hear about.
Which is pretty much always true, by the way.
Confusion of correlation and causation.
It's a famous legal argument. The slippery slope. If this happens, then this, then this, then this, and this, and this.
Right. So slippery slope. If we allow abortion in the first weeks of pregnancy, it will be impossible to prevent the killing of a full-term infant.
Yes, we're going to be hacking off their heads as soon as they're born.
Right. There's the straw man. That's scientists suppose that living things simply fell together by chance. A formulation that willfully, right, anyways, it's a caricaturing a position to make it easier to attack.
Actually, the number one straw man arguer is President Obama. He is very big about creating false choices where the assumption is there's only two choices. He creates a straw man of the opposition and knocks it down. He does that constantly.
See, if we knew more about this, it would be easier for us to sort of survive so there's two more. Suppressed evidence or half-truths, an amazingly accurate and widely quoted prophecy of the assassination attempt on President Reagan is shown on television, but an important detail, was it recorded before or after the event?
Interesting.
And number 20 in Carl Sagan's list of words, this is a book I'm going to check out from the public library, by the way, weasel words. Like, for example, the separation of powers of the U.S. Constitution specifies that the United States may not conduct a war without a declaration by Congress. On the other hand, presidents are given control of foreign policy and the conduct of wars, which are potentially powerful tools for getting themselves reelected. So they use weasel words such as pacification, armed incursion, police actions, operations. So if you can watch out for these things, you practice healthy skepticism and watch out for false logic.
Yes, because we all know that when you deploy special operations troops, that's not an advisors. That's not boots on the ground. Because, they're not, real boots.
Because they're levitating.
Yeah, they're special ops guys. That's not really boots on the ground.
They wear slippers.
Yeah, sandals, slippers, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Right. I think
Sneakers,
they go barefoot, actually.
That'd be pretty hardcore in the desert sand, like rocks and.
Hey, why not?
You reminded me of my old thing with Hillary Clinton, like the straw man. There are some people who say, there's some who say we should tear off women's nipples with fishing line, but I say that's wrong. It was like, who the fuck wants to rip off their nipples with? It's like, she's implying that those Republicans, they want to tear off women's nipples with the fishing line. I'm against the fishing line de-nippling.
Exactly.
Well, I always look at Hillary Clinton, and she's like the perfect Occam's razor target for me in that, okay, do I believe that everything against her is a vast right-wing conspiracy, or maybe that she's just a liar?
Mm-hmm. Maybe she's just
a liar. The simplest explanation.
And both could be true.
Both could be true. Yes.
Right?
If the one's true, then the other one should be true. If she's a liar, there should be a big, fast right-wing, not conspiracy, but a united effort.
I actually saw an interesting Facebook meme the other day, which blamed the Clinton allure not on Clinton, but on the American people. It basically said that the problem is not that Hillary Clinton is a big fat liar. The problem is that her supporters don't care that she's a big fat liar.
Well, that's why we may get the Trump Hillary run where nobody gives a shit. We want this chick. We don't care. We don't give a fuck about whatever she said and done. We want this guy. We don't give a shit. That's what the race could come down to. It's pretty weird, isn't it?
Can I take a quick sponsor break real quick?
Oh, okay.
All right. I want to take just a minute.
For the Home Alone sponsor?
I just want to take a break from this riveting podcast. We're 28 minutes in, and we haven't even started on the interesting stuff.
Yeah. We haven't gotten to coffee yet.
The Carl Sagan was really interesting, but
there was 30 minutes of Carl Sagan in the first 28 minutes.
I thought it was 40.
I do want to thank this week's sponsor. It's a new app. It's available for Android and iOS today. It's called Many Wives, Many Lives. ManyWives.app. Okay?
I've already forgotten. It's so long.
Many Wives is trying to solve the problem that's sort of left by all these dating and advice apps. Like
sounds vaguely Mormon to me.
Like we were talking about, and I don't want to share your personal life with the audience, Rob. We were talking about some personal things and possibly automating some messages that you could send out, to the one that you're interested in. And we found as in our research that something like the Bro app, which seems like a fantastic app, it only supports one girlfriend or wife at a time.
That was a problem for us and our listeners.
Right. So the sponsor this week is called Many Wives, ManyWives.net. And it specifically schedules and sends your custom messages. So you sign up. It's a 99-cent in-app purchase per recipient. So, and you don't have to use it for your ladies, but you could have your, 2 or 3 women that you want to send a message to every couple days, right? They suggest some, thinking of you.
I hope it doesn't send it in a group.
I can't get you out of my mind. I really, love the way. Like, what was the other one? Did you see the?
No,
you didn't see the copy.
I wasn't in the meeting with the.
I didn't bring the copy. One of them was like, I love the way you smelled, something like that.
Is this produced by the Mormon Software Development Group?
No, sir. This is
Mini Wives.
This is a direct competitor to the Bro app.
Okay.
You could check out broapp.net. Like, they've got it down, but Bro app is not our sponsor. Many Wives solves. You get the scheduled sending of SMS messages from your phone number to the one that you want to message. You say, every morning between 9 and 10 a.m., I want to send this message. I love you, honey.
Can it sext them too? You just take a random picture of a penis that looks similar to yours.
I don't think they have the ability to send pictures ahead of time. But I'm going to make a note right here. I'm writing down
for the next meetings,
so I can let them know. But for a 99-cent in-app purchase, you can add an additional recipient. You can add an additional person, obviously women, guys. It's only guys that are going to do this. So
there are a few women that I've known who would use this to juggle their men.
Okay, so
probably not enough to justify them bothering to make an app, though.
So women and men, if you're looking for an automated system to send text messages of love to the ones that you want to get those messages, go to the App Store, Google Play or iTunes, look up Many Wives, Many Lives.
There would be a woman version of this app, though. There'd be like inagyou.com, where they would send you automated text asking you to take out the garbage or make sure you stop at the store on the way home.
Are you married or were ever married?
This is not part of our sponsor. I'd like to thank Many Wives for supporting this show.
Yeah, thank you. Did you ever just walk by and tell your wife to do something like, can you pick that up?
Never.
How many times does she do that to you while you're married?
Multiple times.
Yes. What the fuck is up with you women? I constantly, especially if I look like I'm enjoying myself, I'm like sitting on the computer. Dave, can you go take my laundry out and smooth it out so because it's been sitting in there for what's like, okay, all right. You see, I'm on the computer here, but I never fucking tell her. I just never go, hey, can you pick that up?
Well, I would never have dreamed when I was married. I would never have dreamed of interrupting her me time, to do whatever she felt like doing. And it's her free time.
Yeah.
But, if I was utilizing my free time, I would always get since you're not doing anything important, can you do this for me? I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Who is the arbiter of what is important?
God, they're good at the arbitering. Is it arbitering? Arbitrating? Arbitering? They're good at that.
Well, yes, they are the arbiter.
And it's like, but of course, if you ever say, hey, give me a blowjob. How dare you, sir?
You're not doing anything important
you told
right
me
now.
to take the trash out. I didn't particularly want to. I did it. And giving blowjobs is something you presumably like to do. Just give me a blowjob.
At least you claimed that before we were married.
Yeah.
You've said on multiple occasions that you like that, so I assumed it was true.
They seem to enjoy it. But if you just say, hey, give me a... No. How dare you? It's like super different than going out to check the tire pressure on my car because my tire pressure light's on. Why are you ordering me to do that? I don't know.
Go to the Big O Tire. Come on.
Why do you have women, in the pre-marriage days, they throw out lines like, I like to please my man, or I like to make sure my man is taken care of. What happens to that? Where did that go?
Reality. Now, Rob, I notice you have a USC hat on.
I do have a USC hat on.
And I seem to recall that you are a USC alumni.
I am. I did my undergraduate Bachelor of Arts degree in geography at the University of Southern California.
That's after you dropped out as a computer science major.
Yes. And before that, I was aerospace engineering. So 3 majors, 1 degree. That's
nice.
After the plate tectonics talk, we're going to go back to coffee.
You have about one major for every 10 of mine, I think. So
you had a couple, I thought.
I think I've had 6 declared majors before I finally graduated with a business management degree.
I think that's more than me. I think
that's what I'm saying.
Me,
like I think I 10 times your majors. So this story that came up about the USC college Republican president being asked to resign, this was kind of right up your alley, I think.
It really was. It's kind of a...
What happened? I'm not aware of that story.
Here's the story. There's a guy, I forget the name, but he's the president of the USC's Young College Republicans or something like that. Mm-hmm. And one of the things they do is they invite speakers to the campus, to their organization, to speak on topics of interest to the young Republicans.
I see where this is going. Yeah.
Well, they invited one particular speaker. I'll give you the name here because I've got it. A guy named Milo
Yiannopoulos.
Yes.
Milo.
Is it Milo? Okay.
Yeah. Milo what?
Milo Yiannopoulos.
So he's a Greek-born British
flamboyantly
journalist.
gay dude. Very funny, actually.
I didn't know that. Actually.
Yeah, he's super gay.
But he's a media and technology guy, and he's currently the technology editor for Breitbart. And he's spoken out on some issues like feminism.
The chat room people can't hear us.
No, that's
still
me.
There?
That
was
me.
That's you.
I have another machine logged into the chat room, and since I hadn't heard from anybody in the chat room in a couple minutes,
sorry, let's go back to
since
Milo
I fixed the mic. Anyways,
well, so the
Milo,
the president of the Young Republicans, invited him to speak, and that's when the batshit hit the fan. The university is
now. This was a Young Republican event.
Yes,
right?
Yes. They're not. It's not a campus-wide event. It's like
not in the free speech area.
We're gonna have this little. We're gonna set up a little seminar or speaking engagement, and if you want to come, you can come.
Okay.
So
non-safe space.
Yeah, if you don't like Milo, don't come see Milo talk. But they're trying to drum him out of the student senate and impeach him and censure him and give him all sorts of problems for the audacity to create like an aura of sexism or something like that, merely by inviting the speaker to come speak.
So what's wrong with Milo that he's a sexist pig or something?
He speaks on topics like feminism and
he's non-left wing.
He's non-left wing. Got it.
The special snowflake safe space people at your average college university now.
I don't know many of those.
They don't like that. They're like, we don't want to just simply disagree with your speech. We don't want you to talk. That's a problem. I don't care. You could have, the biggest liberal that I happen to disagree with come speak at an event like, hey, if I don't like it, I won't sit through it or I'll leave or whatever. I'm not going to say that guy can't speak because it creates some unsafe environment. And
right.
That's where the problem lies.
Isn't that how we expand our knowledge and learn new ideas, is by listening to people that challenge our beliefs, and we can argue against that, or we can have our mind changed with new information and then have a new belief that makes us better people.
100%.
Isn't that the whole basis of it?
Yes.
That is the basis. And particularly in the place where that should happen the most is the universities, which are supposed to be the marketplace of ideas, where you can hear differing viewpoints and apply some critical thinking and make up your own mind, rather than have it force-fed as a prescribed ideology. So it gets my blood boiling. I don't care what your viewpoint is. I just don't think that your viewpoint should be suppressed because the majority, the minority, or whatever doesn't like it.
I'm with Rob on that one. But also, how come if I say I don't like Barack Obama's policy on X, Y, or Z? Oh,
you're a racist.
So you hate black people.
Yeah,
it's like,
you're a racist,
how come
man.
these people aren't being called out? It's like, how come you didn't like our gay speaker? Why do you hate gay people? It's the same exact fucking argument.
Yeah.
Why do you hate gays? That's what I would just say. Why do you hate gays? That's my only comment to them. You can't have this man speaker. Why do you hate gays?
That would have been
the same thing they did. That's exactly what they do.
Great response.
Yeah. And he's super gay. I like this guy, actually. He's great. I heard him recently. He kind of was introduced to the world by James Dellingpole. You know who he is? He's a British guy. He'd been on his podcast on Ricochet.com, which they do lots of fine podcasts there. But he's a pretty he's a funny guy. This Milo Yiannopoulos guy, a little acerbic. He goes he works blue, on his Twitter feed for sure. He always talks about how he hates Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin and thinks they suck, which is like, okay, buddy, just move on to something else because everyone thinks you're an idiot when you say Pink Floyd and Led Zeppelin suck.
Well, bringing it back around to Sable and Carl Sagan, the reason I don't like to use the why do you hate gays argument for the left's oppression of Milo is that that's basically you're dodging the actual issue and attacking the person, which we've already Sable has proven that's a logic fallacy,
right?
And we don't want to win against the
in their case
the
it was
other
ad
side.
homonym.
They
were against the gay man.
Mm-hmm.
Jerks.
Ad homonym.
Ad homonym. Okay, I'm a little slow. More wine. I missed
Love
that.
that. Love that.
Slow on the uptake on that one.
So for the audience's pleasure, I started Robb off with a glass of wine long before Dave got here.
Trump wine, right?
Got him into a second. No, this was
red wine.
Per the a recommendation of Jesse Dollamore from the I Doubt It with Dollamore podcast.
You recommended this wine?
I went to the Trader Joe's and got the box wine of Shiraz.
Nice.
Which is, it's pretty fantastic. It's
otherwise known as the box wine of death.
What? I don't even get that.
It's almost as good
because
as the Naked Grape.
everything is of death. And it's just, I really can't explain
Podcast
it.
of death.
So I think it's interesting that you brought this up, Robb, because it's been a common theme for us over the last year that there's just a lot of craziness happening in universities.
So much, yeah.
Yes. It blows my mind. And the interesting thing is, I went to USC, and I'm dating myself, but I graduated in 1989. And, so we're talking 27-ish years ago. My math might be bad because of whiskey and wine. So don't correct me on it, please.
You can, if you want to Google that, you can put it right in the chat room.
Maybe I'll just say close to 30, which I'm not committing to any specific number. That's a kind of a lawyer thing to do.
Yeah. Don't lawyer this, Robb.
But it is positively amazing to me, the transformation of the ideas and the attitudes of college students in 30 years, a generation in essence. It blows my mind. No one is willing to engage in any type of frank discussion. To hear a viewpoint that differs from them it's like physically painful to them. It blows my mind. I can't understand that in the slightest.
It's widespread too. It's like all the new rage and all the college campuses, the safe space shit, and that we don't want this person to speak, and we shout them down, and if they don't agree with what we think.
I'm not a fan of the shouting down. There is some merit to having a space where you can express what you need to express without being judged or shouted down. So
without being judged?
Well, there's a program we have called the Ally Program. And if you complete the training, and I'm actually sad that I was not able to complete the training when it was offered, you get a special sticker. It's a rainbow triangle that you can put on your window.
Are you fucking with us right now?
No, I'm serious. I'm totally serious. The Ally, if you are
rainbow triangle.
If you are gay, lesbian, if you're LBGT student on a college campus and you need someone to talk to,
isn't it LBGTQ?
If
you gotta have the Q for questioning.
No, it's LG,
queer.
LGBT. Yeah.
No, it's not queer. No, it's questioning.
Okay.
That means you might be LBG or T, but you're just not sure.
So, if you are in a position where you want to talk about your sexuality, you can find an office that has this particular sticker on the window, and that person is an ally who's there for you. Now, in that case, I totally support the safe space. You can go talk to that person, and they are trained to know what the Q is.
That it's not queer.
If you I listened to the No Agenda show, and Adam Curry calls himself a bi or trisexual, and when he says it, it's LGBTQQQRRIP, and then he has something for all of them, and it just messes me up.
Yeah, it is queer. I think you're right. I think
I'm right
in there
too, but
I think they're even refining these PC terms down as they go, because I think they did actually have queer.
It's questioning.
No, now it's questioning. But I think when it started, the Q was queer, and they were using that, and then they changed it to questioning because they're always refining the language down.
Well, see that actually makes no sense to me because
I could be wrong.
Isn't in
he's insisting it really is queer
in defining the term queer as it was historically used. Didn't that basically mean gay or lesbian or some other? So why would you repeat a term?
Well, what was the original acronym again? What was the acronym again? The old one?
Queer just used to mean, that's a little odd,
Yeah.
Like, I hung up a bunch of pictures in my house, but that one was a little queer, which means that one wasn't level and even with the rest. If you go to...
So it's lesbian, gay, bi, transgender, or odd.
Well, that was the original meaning of queer. It came to mean gay or lesbian, but I did a Google search because our friend Google is here, and I'm going to have to agree with W9. The lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer center.
Yeah, it's actually called that. But I think you're right. I think they're moving to do questioning now. Because they realize that that's bad. You like George Orwell. You have to get all the negative connotation of every word out of everything.
Well, the funny thing is the gay community used to embrace the term queer. That whole show, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and things like that.
Right
now they don't like it. It's gone now. Now like queer. Oh, that's a derogatory term. It's a term used in. Putting us down. So
I see that all the time when I say Negro in front of all the black people. They look at me very strangely, but it's an accepted term 40 years ago.
I've tried. I go with colored, but
yeah.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna.
People of color.
I'm gonna be banned from the internet now.
Now, I've known women that would refer to anybody who wasn't white as colored people. Now, I couldn't say it, but she could.
I think what they like, and it's a strange academic difference. The preferred term is person of color rather than colored. And I guess this is what I've heard and read is that framework puts the emphasis on the person. So.
We're reading the chat room. Anyway,
for those who don't want to be labeled or specifically don't fit in the other labels.
Right. I was agreeing with that. That's the cue.
All right. Whatever. It's a bad term now, though. Queer is bad.
Now, W9 may actually be an ally-trained person, and we're getting the real information. Had I made the training that day, I would have more for you. Right. But before we completely descend into this very academic discussion, I really want to hear about the corpse bride you mentioned in the beginning.
Oh, let me go over there. This is a news story I read the other day that captivated me.
Wait, so if I'm a necrophiliac, does that make me queer? Because that's an orientation that is, not standard heterosexual.
I think necrophiliac is not on the list of approved Facebook sexual identities, and you're out of luck.
Well, listen to this.
Necrophiliacs of the world unite. That's all.
Yeah, well, this is a story from China. Now, apparently it's bad luck in China for a man to die without being married. This has been, for millennia, I guess. So there's a new market for female corpses to be buried with newly dead bachelors. They're just digging up they're finding random dead women to bury with these guys. So the Chinese are very superstitious, obviously, and this is it's troublesome now. You have so many more men than women. I guess it's going to be a supply and demand issue.
I have no words, really. I mean, only thing I can.
Well,
figure
I thought it was sweet and sour.
Do they marry them north south, so there's a feng shui to the corpse bride placement?
I don't know. First kiss is going to be a little stiff, though. I would think.
Yeah. Boom! Go over to the drum set for me.
Yeah. Peaceful marriage, though. She never wants to talk, and he never piles up dishes in the sink.
They must be ready to endure the rigors of marriage.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't do much for the stereotype of the old Chinese men being bad drivers, though, because think about it. If you're making a hard right turn and your wife's coffin smacks you in the head, this is bad driving etiquette,
Now, does this tie into the drive-through sex at all? Are there corpses
involved
in this?
No, that's after. That's my next story.
Oh, okay.
But, Chinese men, they decimated the rhinoceros because they think their horns give them stronger erections, and it's kind of a bummer that if, your husband has a permanent rock-hard penis now, but he was buried with his pants on. It's like, wah, wah, wah.
So 1 out of every 10 rhinoceroses has been destroyed?
Is that the number? Is that the figure we're working on now?
I don't know. You said decimated. 10% of all rhinos.
That is right. Decimated does mean 1/10 of destroyed. It's probably worse than that. It's been, 9/10 of all of them are gone now.
Decimated specifically refers to 1/10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's an interesting observation.
I've heard of shotgun weddings too, but never one where the bride and groom were both killed by a shotgun before.
The wedding.
Yeah.
Nice.
Can you get a rim shot over there? And one couple I saw was married by the coroner. I said, "I now pronounce you dead."
Give me one more, Dave. One more.
Oh, okay. Cemeteries have become a hot dating site now. Oh, where am I? I wrote this one down. It was so awesome. Yeah. Oh, are you ready on your rim shot? Yeah, cemeteries have become a hot dating site now. I saw a couple making out in the back of a hearse. Ah, very good. An anniversary party, too. You could have your best friend standing up there. They've been married for 147 years, and neither of them look like they've aged a day. She still fits into her wedding coffin. All right, I played out that one. Let's go on to this Kentucky couple who were caught having sex in the parking lot of a drive-through of a restaurant. Now,
when you said drive-through sex, I wasn't thinking about people having sex in a drive-through. Yeah. I was thinking you would drive in. Mm-hmm. There would be some sort of sex worker.
Yeah. Well, there are those too,
and
but this
a
is
legal
not what this
transaction, and then you would drive out. You gave me the wrong idea about this show, Dave.
I wanted to lead you down the wrong path. There was a red herring. This is a Kentucky couple. They were apparently having sex near a drive-through. You got the audio queued up because we have a bit of audio from the story. This is where audio comes in.
Oh, really?
Make sure you got this queued up because we got a bit of audio from the story, but I have to set it up first.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
They were near the drive-through and talking about. By the way, they're having sex in the car in the parking lot of a. You're going to believe this. Hardee's. That's where they actually were.
Not a soft serve ice cream place.
She probably saw the Hardee's and went, "Oh, I have an idea."
It's interesting that Hardee's has the Carl's Jr. star on it.
Yeah, well, back east,
same company.
East, it's the same company, but back east they call them Hardee's.
I know.
But
we had Hardee's in Alabama.
Yeah, it was very distracting though. As you can hear, we have a bit of audio that was taken from the.
Are you ready for the audio?
Yeah, let's play that audio.
All right.
Hopefully we can all hear it.
Welcome to Hardee's. May I interest you in the 69-cent sausage special?
No, thank you. Wait, that sounds good, yes.
Would you like that doggy style? I mean protein style, sorry.
No, thank you. But I would like it circumcised.
Excuse me, ma'am?
Oh my goodness, I mean supersized. Oh dear Lord.
Do you need extra condiments?
Goodness, no, I'm way past menopause.
No condiments like ketchup or mayo?
Oh, yes. Some special sauce, please.
Thank you, ma'am. Your hash browns will be an extra 2 minutes, so can you pull out or pull into that parking space over there and we'll bring it out to you?
Thank you.
So distracting. Like, how could you even place your order? Good Lord.
Oh, Dave, that was funny.
What? It just came off the wire. I got
that seems like a setup.
Now, Dave, you said not to listen to that.
Are you questioning the validity of that news story?
You told when you sent me the clip, you said don't listen to it, and I didn't.
But 98% of climate scientists agree with the veracity of that story.
That guy sounded a lot like you.
Strangely, it could be a cousin of mine.
The guy in the drive-thru?
Yeah, all of them.
All of them sounded a little like me, didn't they?
That was great, man. Have you heard about the Japanese solo weddings?
Solo weddings.
Japanese solo weddings.
No.
Now, just briefly, this is a phenomenon that I had not heard about. It's a Japanese thing, but there was a Western photographer, so a very successful woman in her mid-30s, photographer who wanted to have a wedding and get dressed up and have the whole photo shoot and everything, but hadn't really dated anybody in 20 years. So she thought she was going to never have the wedding while she was still, quote, young and beautiful. So since she's very successful and wealthy, she hired the company in Japan to do the full wedding thing for her. And she flew out to Japan. She put on a wedding dress. She did the trial. She had a planner. They went around Japan doing the photo shoot. And then she came home with a photo album of her and all of these typical wedding pictures. But there was no groom. There's no husband. She wants to have the memories of her wedding day without getting married.
Those Japanese are cutting edge, really. That's,
so it's happening in Japan where they're marrying themselves. They're doing an actual ceremony where they promise to love themselves, which I think is pretty interesting.
I'd like to see that. Is there any video of that, her loving herself?
It's all over YouTube, man.
Awesome.
Does this go right into the Home Alone jerk sauce?
Yes, the new sponsor, Home Alone Jerk Sauce.
Don't turn this into a guy thing.
The first lubricant designed specifically for masturbating. You can get it at homealonejerksauce.com.
Now, Dave, I thought we weren't going to take the sponsor because I told them this stuff has been around forever.
Yeah.
You don't need a special.
Yes,
you don't need a special sauce.
It's called Lubrasperm.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Look, guys figure out how to do that somewhere around age 11 or 12, and they don't need a product to help them out with it.
There's blistering. There's callousing. This helps with that.
Oh, man.
Read the copy.
So, Rob, I didn't have a chance to share with you this YouTube video about the oppressed majority because I showed you the Game of Thrones Season 6 trailer.
I choose violence.
Look, there's a comment on there. They're asking about was it talking about the Chinese? Did they have premarital sex? No, but they had premorbital sex.
That might be the Japanese solo wedding, you know. Are you having premarital sex in the solo wedding? Or are you saving yourself for marriage?
Right.
In which case, you know, you could get the Home Alone jerk sauce as a wedding gift.
Nice. So, Dave, you saw the oppressed majority video, right?
Yeah.
This actually ties in.
Describe this for the listener.
This ties into our earlier conversation, but I didn't want to quite go here yet. So this is a 10-minute French short video called The Oppressed Majority. It's on YouTube. There are boobs in it.
So it's French. It's
so
subtitled in English.
The subtitling is excellent. The music is fantastic.
French boobs, good music. I'm in.
Mm-hmm. Now, the premise is we're in a feminist society where the women have the role that men currently have in France, and the men are pushing the strollers and being sexually harassed. So this poor guy, he's wearing flip-flops and Bermuda shorts, and women on the street are whistling at him and getting his attention and calling him names, and he's sexually assaulted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And it's pretty horrible. I mean, they hold a little box cutter to his throat. Mm-hmm. They rip his shirt open.
The poor plight of Jean-Paul.
Right? They
imagine riding your bike, Sable, down the street, and 4 or 5 hot women demand that you pleasure them sexually. This is a fucking horrible society.
Right? It would be terrible.
Yes.
Who would want to live like that?
No.
So he's in the
Only
police
the French
station.
could take something so beautiful and turn it ugly.
He's in the police station, and the police officer is basically threatening him. It's actually pretty messed up.
Yeah, I mean, I would have had more of an effect on me if they just would have shot it as is with the females in the female role. The men still make me angry. It's like, yes.
But didn't you feel a little connection to the guy? Like, oh, I wear stupid-looking Bermuda shorts and flip-flops. Didn't you feel that with him?
No.
Like sometimes I dress like that.
I was a little angry with him because he didn't bother fighting back at all to his attackers who he could have beat up easily.
But see, he wasn't supposed to because
I know because the roles are reversed.
He's in a feminist society where he's not allowed to fight back against women.
Right.
Well, I think even in a masculine society, there's a societal bar to a man fighting back because you're not supposed to hit women. Some of their
What are you, a millennial?
Well, no, that's an old-fashioned value.
I'm old-fashioned, but I don't bust women across the chops.
Yeah. No, we don't. I'm not about hitting women, but
that's why the movie.
Well, how else are you going to fight back against female attackers with box cutters trying to
Yeah, that
in that
if there's an instant where it's okay to toe chalk someone across the jaw, that might be it.
And I was thinking the same thing. In that case,
I'm saying right there you go for the tit punch, like bam.
The women lose their immunity to attack. When 4 of them are threatening you with a box cutter, you just grab her hand and pull it away and say, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, it's a woman hand. It's easy to pull away. We are stronger than them. I know they hate to hear that, but we are stronger than them, which kind of sucks because it makes it easier for men to brutalize women, which we do a little too often, maybe a lot too often.
You probably do a little too often. Dave.
I don't brutalize very many women
anymore.
Not anymore. But we are stronger than them. So the movie didn't.
Dave has never brutalized women.
There was no way I would be watching this film and being angry at the woman who was attacked. But I was angry with the man. I'm like, dude, just hit him.
Okay, so Dave,
or fuck him. They wanted you to have sex with them. Just have sex with them, and then you wouldn't have to beat them up. Then it's like a win-win.
But aren't I in control of my own body? Really? I mean,
Dave,
you haven't been in control of your body since you got here.
Dave, you're falling into the classic fallacy. You think the film is
Phallic?
about you.
What?
Yeah, fallacy. You think it's about you.
Right.
The film is not made.
No, I understand.
Made
it was
for
underscoring the. It was like the foot's on the other
film-
hand now. This is how women feel they're
The film
treated.
is made for women.
Yes, it is.
So they can feel the power of what it's like to be treated the way that they think it is.
Feel the
for
power
men.
of what it's like to brutalize the opposite sex.
Right.
Yeah.
This short film was made for women to watch, so they can feel that sense of control. That,
girl power.
Right? It's a girl power.
Well, I brought
video.
this up too. Yeah. What do you think if suddenly tomorrow women were the one with our physical abilities were switched? Like women were 60 pounds heavier and could bench press way more and could beat the shit out of us. How do you think what kind of custodians of that power would they be?
I'd probably have to do a lot more dishes.
They already order us to fucking around to do. Pick that up. Can you? What are you doing there? Can you just? Obviously, you're doing something that's a waste of time. So, can you do this thing now that I was planning on doing, but I have to do this other thing?
But
And then if we don't, what's going to happen? Oh boy!
It would be a 1950s role reversal.
Yeah, Ward Cleaver and June Cleaver, and it would be. I don't know. I have
June.
No
would
idea
be
where I'm
John.
going with
It'd be
that.
John Cleaver.
Well,
John Cleaver.
Guys, we sort of hit
In a
most of the topics that I really wanted to talk about, except Game of Thrones. So I'm going to tease this for
choose
next
violence.
week.
We're going to close with a legal thing for him to ask.
Okay, we're going to choose violence next week. And before we get into our final legal question, because we're
Coming up on an hour.
We're a little bit over Edgar's workout time, and I know for a fact that he likes to listen while he's at the gym. Although he's had some health issues, and my thoughts go out to you, sir, and I hope you get well.
It's what I try and tell all the women I date. I'm sorry if it's a little bit long.
Oh man, I should have been on the drum set all night. This is a good show. So if you guys are out there listening to the show, I want to thank you for subscribing. If you feel like it, head on over to theindispensable.show.com, click on that Amazon button, and go buy yourself something. By using our link, we'll get a couple of percent. We'll get 50 cents or
Cost
$1.
you nothing more. It's all done in the background. We just get to wet our beak on your purchase.
Right? We almost have enough to go out drinking, I think.
Yeah, we could.
Now, if you want to be very specific about your donation, you click on the PayPal button, send us 15 or 20 bucks, and I'll buy Dave with your money a drink on Friday night when we go out bourbon tasting.
Yes, because this scintillating alcohol-fueled commentary does not come for free. The alcohol costs money.
Mm-hmm. This is a self-paid operation here.
Yeah,
we're paying for it all. But over the whole course of the year, I hope that we can make a little bit of money to pay for itself. Mm-hmm. I'm enjoying the podcast, and I would like it to at least pay for itself as an endeavor. So I appreciate your theindispensable.show.com/Amazon or theindispensable.show.com. Click on the PayPal button.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So what did you have for Mr. Robb here?
You and I talked about this last year.
Because Robb is a lawyer.
Yeah, Robb's a lawyer.
Attorney.
What's your specialty in the area of law?
It's a mixed bag, but I have experience in civil litigation, family law, criminal defense, and bankruptcy.
Yeah, all right.
So you handle masturbating businessmen who were at work who lost their job and their business.
Yes, if you lost your job, your wife, and got arrested for DUI, you need to come see me.
Better call Robb.
Do you want to plug your website or your legal services, by the way?
No, because my website is down. I don't want to plug something that people go in and say, wait, man, where's your website? Because I'm revamping it.
Okay, listen, if you need a lawyer in Southern California, contact me directly, Sable at theindispensable.show.com, or on Twitter at Sable and Dave, and I will get your information over to Robb.
Yes, I will get it. I'm a better lawyer than commentator, so really, it's important.
When he's not drinking, he will get your information. So please continue.
You're not the
Dave.
Lionel Hutz of what city do you operated?
My office actually covers most of the Southern California counties. So if you're in Orange County, Los Angeles County, Riverside County, San Bernardino, or San Diego, I'm good to go.
He's not the Lionel Hutz of those areas.
That's why you have to buy the 84 mile per gallon car.
Yes, because I
got a Tesla?
No, it's an Elio. It's
Elio?
84 miles a gallon. And it's only $6,800 to buy.
What?
Yep. It's cool stuff.
What? We waited all this time in the podcast to get to this?
Yeah.
Who makes this car?
Elio. It's Elio Motors.
Elio, like ELIO or
Correct.
Elio
Correct.
Motors.
Yeah, look it up.
Really?
It's a 2-passenger vehicle, 2 front wheels, and a single third.
Kind of like the smart car looking sort of thing, like a front seat with 4 wheels.
Well, it's 3 wheels. The rear wheel, there's only a single rear wheel. But,
wow!
Yeah.
You didn't drive it here, did you?
No, because they're coming out this year. You could put in reservations, but they're coming out in 2016.
What country does this come from? America? I
Yeah,
heard
it's
India
US
was making something like this.
US
It was
product.
super, wow! I
This
didn't know.
this particular vehicle is all over Italy, though.
Well,
Could be.
It's a 3-wheel motorcycle. It's a motorcycle with 2 wheels in the front, 1 in the back, and there's 2 seats, and it's completely enclosed.
Yes, you sit like fighter plane style. You've got like a pilot and a co-pilot.
And in Rome,
Is it noisy inside? Quiet?
That I don't know.
Probably.
You got to arrange a test drive or find out.
You don't have it yet?
Things. I don't have it yet.
Oh,
no,
okay,
'cause they're coming out this year.
But you bought it?
I got a deposit in.
Oh, cool! I want to see that when you. Let's go shooting, and we'll see.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I want to see this. This sounds cool.
Dave, I didn't know you wanted to go shooting again. So
yeah, I
let's
love
do
shooting.
It.
It has a trunk just big enough for 12 firearms. No more than 12.
Damn, that reminds me of the prison fight I wanted to talk about too. It was going to dovetail into my anti-big government talk.
All right,
maybe we should just ask.
Maybe
for next week.
You did have a legal.
I did have a legal thing.
Next week, prison fight.
Yeah, prison fight and security cameras. We talked about this a long time ago on last year, but and then we have a legal person in here, a lawyerly person to ask about this. We talked about the Stella Liebeck case. I know you know who Stella Liebeck is, right? She's the McDonald's coffee lady.
Oh yes.
That spurred a lot of this tort reform
the coffee's
talk.
too hot. Yes.
Yeah, coffee's too hot. There was
I spilled it.
Yeah, we talked about this
Don't
documentary
put it between your legs, dumbass.
And basically, how this was one of the few cases that really spurred this whole idea of the tort reform we needed and the putting limits on the damages that could be levied against big corporations and things like this. You aware of that case much, Stella Liebeck case? You know the actual facts of the case?
It's actually an older case, and the
early 90s maybe?
Yeah, the issue was that the allegation was that even though the coffee was marked caution, coffee is hot or something of that nature, that it was unreasonably hot to a degree to cause severe burns. And I haven't looked into the case to the degree of knowing how severe the injury actually was, but it was a groundbreaking case, and it got a lot of both press and ridicule.
Yeah, she became a sort of a poster girl for the frivolous lawsuit.
All right, we lost a little bit of Robb's explanation of the McDonald's incident. I hope that you caught it live on YouTube or joined us in the chat room, but I'm going to wrap up the show now at an hour and 7.5 minutes in. I want to thank you all for subscribing to the Indispensable Thursday show. You can find us on iTunes, TuneIn Radio, anywhere that fine podcasts are served. You can listen to us with your Amazon Echo. Just say, Alexa, listen to the Indispensable Thursday show, and it will start playing right away. You can contact us through the contact form at theindispensable.show.com or on Twitter at Sable and Dave. So thanks a lot, Robb, for joining us.
Thank you. You're going to hear 90 minutes of the best hour you've possibly ever heard.
And thanks, Dave, for all the coffee talk.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime.
And thank you, chat room.
Thanks, chat room.
All right, I'm going to kill the recording. Bye-bye.